are God's masterpiece. Not a mistake, a masterpiece. Every bit of you is divinely made. Every bit of you is made from that consciousness of infinite potential and creative energy. Isn't that just amazing? Just say, I'm God's masterpiece. And if you don't believe it, fake it. Because you are. Today's theme is what's right about you. And the answer is everything. What's right about you? Everything. Right. It is. Everything's right about you. But you know what? We live in this world where we forget. Now, it's not all our fault, because there's a consciousness that keeps us tied down to what's not so good. You just have to listen to the ads on the TV that tell us everything that's wrong with us and what we need to fix it. So we get a consciousness of what's right about you. Well, you know what? I can tell you everything that's wrong with me right now. This hurts, that's not working, I don't have enough of this, I'm not worthy. Do you know what I mean? We get in that mindset, and we've got to be changed. That we are made in the image and likeness of whatever you want, goodness, love, possibility, light, whatever that is, that's what we're made of. There's not part of us that's that, and part that isn't. If we truly believe what we teach, it's all God, and God is inherently good. There's not God and our problems, right? It's all God. We've got to know that we're that masterpiece, and we've got to up-level our thinking to plug into what's right. It was Matthew Fox, who was a Dominican father in the Catholic Church, and he had to leave the Catholic Church and become an Episcopal priest because he could no longer deal with original sin. Couldn't do it. He couldn't say we're born original sinners. Have you ever looked in the face of a little baby and wanted to say that's original sin? He wrote and wrote about we, all of us, not some of us, are the original blessing. We are the original blessing. We have a lot to celebrate. But how do we keep ourselves plugged in to being the masterpiece, the original blessing? How do we plug it in when we're off track, when things get broken? You know, when life gets broken, it's devastating, isn't it? I mean, it's hard when we get a health crisis, when we have a financial difficulty, when we have relationship issues, when we lose our job, when it gets devastating when we have brokenness in our life. But brokenness is the opportunity for us to know a greater possibility about our life. Are you with me on that? It's a way the light comes through. When we get broken out of things have to be a certain way, and we have the opportunity to unify our human mind with pure spirit. We had a practitioner class yesterday. It was really awesome. And we were talking about, we just review, we practice a lot in this world, the things that are wrong. And we get together to practice what's right and good and true. Because as Ernest Holmes said, practice, teach, practice. We have to continually reinforce. It takes conscious effort to keep remembering that we're a masterpiece, right? It takes conscious effort to do that. It doesn't just happen. We have to keep remembering that we are the original blessing. And so we were in class and we're reading this. It's so exciting. And it was a book by Joel Goldsmith. And Joel Goldsmith was born, I think, March 10th, 1892, born a little bit after Fanny. I don't remember the rest of her name, but I remember Fanny wrote that thing that Reverend Bill read. Anyway, he was born in New York City, and he was born to two non-practicing Jewish parents. They didn't practice the Jewish religion, but they were very spiritual in their practices. And so he grew up, and when he was about 20, his father got critically ill, and they didn't think he was going to live. And his father went to a Christian Science practitioner. Now, Christian Science believes in instantaneous healing, which we do too. We are healed instantaneously when we believe our oneness with God, when we truly believe we are one. Doesn't mean the cure is going to happen instantaneously, but there's an instantaneous healing. And his father instantaneously healed. And he had a new awareness. And so Joel became a spiritual seeker. He studied a lot of the Eastern traditions, didn't study religion, but studied a lot of the spiritual practices. And he wrote a book, a practice that transcends any religion. It's used on many different paths, called the Infinite Way. And it's a practice that keeps us plugged in to our divinity. And it's very personal, and it's very contemplative, and it's very individual for each person, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But he also went on, after he was in the Marines, he also got very ill and went to a Christian Science healer, practitioner, teacher, and was instantaneously healed. So he believes in instantaneous healing, and it's about a practice, which we'll talk about in a minute. So what happens to us that we don't plug into that instantaneous possibility that's ever available? Do you know, it's so silly. We try to limit the infinite good. How can you limit infinite good? Infinite good is infinite, but we try to limit it and control it and put it in a box. It's time you and I accept our divine inheritance. All the Gospels in the New Testament tell us about our worthiness. They tell us we're made in the image and likeness of God. They tell us be perfect like your Father in heaven is perfect. They tell us that it is the Father within that doeth the work. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, what did he say? It was, bring forth what is within you. It's never gone. It's not like, go find something and put it in you. Bring forth what is within you, and that will save you. It's all there for us. But what happens is we start limiting ourselves. And Ernest Holmes says, fear is the worst enemy of man. We get afraid, and what happens to us? We contract. Instead of opening and expanding ourselves to the limitless potential and creative possibilities that are all around us, we are immersed in, we contract in fear. And fear brings limitation and lack, and we start getting smaller, right? We start getting smaller and smaller, and then we believe small ideas about ourselves instead of realizing we have the possibility to change things now. Matthew Fox also said there's 5 deadly modern sins. 5 deadly modern sins. And he said, wronging others is number 1. We can't add more suffering to a world that's already suffering. So stop wronging others. Take responsibility for our own lives. And on the tail end of that, passivity, he said, is another deadly wrong in the world today. A deadly sin for us is not accepting where we could be seeing a greater possibility. When we become passive and pretend to not see what's going on and add our light, our good, our love, we're not helping this world at all. When we live in dualism, right and wrong, and forget there's so much more going on. We have to expand our vision to see more instead of compartmentalize things into right and wrong. And he also, there's more here. Okay. This one, habitual ways. Take a breath on that one. I've always done it this way, so I'm going to always do it that way. And Albert Einstein said, if humanity is going to survive, we need a substantially new way of thinking. We can't keep in the old habitual ways. We have to have a new way of seeing things, live in the possibility, the openness. And the last thing is we are born to be enthusiastic about life. What happens is when we crimp our creative potential, we get congested, we get depressed. And when we have a lack of passion or enthusiasm, we're not living our life fully. We're not stepping out of the box to do something new. So I have a solution for all this. It's one line. It's something we just need to keep right there where when we get in one of those places, which we all do. How many of you have fallen off track in the last 10 minutes? I mean, it's what we do. We do. It's this process of life. We have to keep getting ourselves back in the line, keep focusing on what is right and true. We have to penetrate whatever it is, whatever situation it is. We have to penetrate it and find God there. Find good there. Find love there. Find light there. We've got to penetrate it, but it takes work to open things up. As I said, feeling broken is devastating until we remember that's the way light comes through. Now I want to share with you, Joel Goldsmith, in his Infinite Way, says we're to meditate 4 or 5 times every day. Now that may make you groan, but the good part of that is our meditation should never be any longer than 10 minutes, if that. He says it's too hard to keep our human mind focused on anything longer than 10 minutes. He says just 10 minutes is what we need. So I want you to pick something in your life right now that doesn't feel so good. We want to penetrate that. And when you penetrate it, it's by connecting our human mind with pure spirit. And he said something, we had fun in class. He said, it's a click that happens. And a click is a release. And it's like when you just let go and you find peace. So just close your eyes for a moment. We aren't even going to take 10 minutes. We'll take 1. This is very simple, very, very individual. It's not to be a guided meditation. It's just to be a time of contemplation where we, first of all, become very comfortable in our bodies, so we unwrap anything so our body doesn't distract us. We become comfortable. Use our breath to just make space. And rest and turn within. And it's that knowing that everything we need, we've been supplied with every single thing we need right now. From the very beginning, with everything we need to tap into the infinite possibility of spirit. So you turn within. And the question is very simple. It's, what is God? And it's for every person to answer that. There's not one answer. You could say, what is spirit? What is infinite intelligence? What is creative potential? What is God? And that's the question for each person to just, how does it feel? What is God? And it's a feeling nature. What is God? And then, as you're just contemplating that question, not judging whatever thoughts pass through, be patient with yourself. It's about patience. Yes, what is God? And then whatever way you want to say it. If you say, Father, I turn within, I'm listening. Spirit, I turn within, I'm listening. Speak. And that's when we tune into that still small voice within. The place within that has the answers. It's not something we have to go searching for, it's already there. So you turn within, what is God? And it's feel it. And just say, Spirit, I am here, I am listening, speak. And then listen with the intention to hear. Listen with the intention to hear. And let everything just pass through, whatever it is, until you hear nothing. And simply feel peace. And that's the click, the release, the letting go, where divine inspiration settles in and we've plugged into the oneness with God. Easy peasy? That's it. And then you bring yourself back. You just say thank you. Bring yourself back and let your day unfold. Let the day unfold and know that you are guided and directed, because we are never, ever, ever alone. And that's, how easy is that? Did you get it? Because if you didn't get it just like that, you can make it up any way you want. It's all about the internal process that we can connect with that power greater than we are. The power greater than we are that tells us we are a unique expression, that tells us we are divinely made. And if you're not quite sure where you're on track and off track, remember there's certain laws in the universe that can keep us really knowing where we are. Ernest Holmes said, when Jesus said, do not judge so that you may not be judged. The measure you give is the measure you get. He was talking about the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, the law of reciprocity. We don't get what we want. We get what we are. So if you're seeing in your life, you're getting what you don't want, there's conditions and experiences that you don't want, where do we need to adjust our thoughts and experiences? Just like we did that click in the Joel Goldstein meditation, we get to choose which thoughts we want to turn the power on and which thoughts we want to turn the power off. There's certain thoughts that are going to be getting us experiences and situations we don't want. We need to power the ones that bring us light and joy and goodness and love. Wayne Dyer said there's 4 cardinal virtues from 2,500 years ago from the Tao Te Ching that he said can keep us in alignment. And he said, number 1, having reverence for all life. Not just some of life, but having reverence for all life. How humbling that is. How humble it is when we really have reverence for all life. And he said, show up with natural sincerity. Not trying to be somebody you're not living in a disguise or making up things to be somebody else, but natural sincerity, which to me reminds me of compassion for ourselves and others, forgiveness. So reverence for all life, natural sincerity, gentleness. How many of you are gentle with yourselves? How many of you happen to be a little too hard on yourself? We need to be gentle with ourselves, because when we're gentle with ourselves, we can be gentle with others. And the last thing is supportiveness, supporting ourselves and others on this path of growth and evolution. You see, if we're going to truly use the magnitude of our spiritual power, we hear almost every week there's a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. That's for us. But can you imagine if we're going to use the magnitude of that power, that we need to focus on our unity? Can you imagine what we can do if we all unite in that power? Pretty potent, huh? If we all unite. And the way to do that for me is to really focus on the word namaste. The word namaste. The God in me sees the God in you. The light in me sees the light in you. The love in me sees the love in you. If we can focus on the namaste, we can really remember who we are. So today, as we truly focus on what's right about you. Thank you. What's right about you? What's right about you? Yes, that's what we want to leave with. Change. Remember, everything's right about me, even the things that don't feel right are right, because they're leading me and guiding me to a greater good, a greater possibility, something I haven't known before. When we leave today, I see for each of us that we are changed for the better, because we know we have the tools to keep getting up, getting on track. When we fail, we have to fail really well. Fail really well so we learn and grow and not see it as a problem. We need to fail better, gooder all the time so we can be better. So we're going to fail and stand up and hold the truth. So just know with me in this moment as we pray together and see and recognize and honor the power and presence of the infinite good that's here in this and every moment, as we allow ourselves to truly plug our human mind into the all-knowing mind of Spirit. As we recognize and honor our oneness, we truly remember who we are. We are God's masterpiece. We are a unique expression of the goodness here on the planet right now. We are the way life, love, God knows itself. How good it is to be alive. And in this moment when we remember who we are, we also remember what we love. Because love is that contagious, attractive energy that heals instantaneously. We remember what we love. We remember what is sacred. We remember right here, right now, we are standing on holy ground. We have reverence for our life, the life of the world, the life of others. We see the power in our unity. And as we accept this goodness, we let the miracles unfold. We absolutely accentuate our divinity right now. And we see this world as a miraculous expression of the goodness of life. How good it is to be alive. Right now in this moment, I'm simply going to invite you to take the hand of the person next to you. Still in a consciousness of prayer, but an awakened moment, as we honor and recognize that we're on this journey together. The power we have as we unify changes things in this moment, even if we don't see it or know it. We're changing the consciousness on the planet now. Can you just say, woohoo? We're doing it. So